Hello, I'm Denise Galoni. Welcome to today's episode of Empowering You. My guest today is the Reverend Marvin Bland, who is the pastor of the Greater St. Peter African Methodist Episcopal Church in Jonesboro, Georgia. Marvin is an amazing individual that was an officer in the U.S. Army. He worked in senior leadership in some of the major companies in the world and is now pastor of his church. He's going to share some incredible information with you, his journey, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. My guest today is the Reverend Marvin Bland. He's the pastor of the Greater St. Peter African Methodist Episcopal Church in Jonesboro, Georgia. A native of Gray, Georgia, Pastor Bland earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, English, and Business from Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. He has a master's degree in Public Administration from Georgia College and State University, and a Master's of Divinity from Columbia Theological Seminary. An ordained itinerant elder in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, Pastor Bland is dedicated to being a Great Commission Christian preacher, using digital and print media platforms to spread the gospel. Pastor Bland served as an officer in the United States Army and is a veteran of Operation Desert Storm. For 3 decades, he worked in senior leadership positions for some of the best companies in the world. During the pandemic, Pastor Bland founded To The Point Theological Media Corporation, a nonprofit company designed to provide media solutions to churches, small businesses, and nonprofits. He's also the host of the podcast with Marvin Bland and produces the radio show It's a Matter of Your Health with Dr. Vita Bland and the Devotional Moment, 1-minute devotional commentaries. He just returned from a 2-week trip to the Holy Land. Thank you so much for being here, Pastor Marvin.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Denise. It's an honor and pleasure to be with you and to connect with you once again.
Oh my gosh, Marvin, we have known each other for so many years. I was trying to figure out how many before this interview, and I don't think I can. 2007, maybe 2008. I have no idea how long it's been. It's been a long time.
It has been a while.
It's been a while. So I'm really happy to reconnect with you also. As we were talking about, we follow each other on social media and see posts, but it's great to see you somewhat in person and catch up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It is fantastic. So thanks again for having me on the show.
Oh, no, thank you. It's an honor. So let me start. So I read some of your bio. Thank you. Thank you for your service in the Army, first of all.
It was my honor.
Yes. And I also mentioned that you were in senior leadership for many large corporations. And now you're a reverend and pastor. How did that happen, Marvin? How did you go from being in senior leadership to these large corporations to spreading the word and becoming a pastor?
Wow, I'm wondering about that also and how it all happened, but here's how I believe it happened in a nutshell. Over the years working in business, one of the things I think you learn is that you get things done through people. And getting things done through people, you get to know people. You get to know their circumstances. You get to know about their families. You get to know about their wants and desires and needs.
Yes.
And getting to know people, you also get to know yourself. And one of the things that I started knowing about myself more and more is that to do the work that we needed to do in business, I needed to be grounded in my faith. And so it was just happenstance, I believe, that the more I did business and was flying on airplanes and going here and yonder, the more I had gravitated to faith and started reading my Bible as I was traveling. Right. Until one day when I was in Pittsburgh, I was dropping off my son from an event and walked into a Panera Bread. In fact, this Panera Bread is in Robinson Township. And in that Panera Bread, they had a huge meeting room. And I looked into the meeting room and there were a bunch of people sitting there looking at Bibles, doing a Bible study. And I don't know what possessed me, but I poked my head in and I said, "What are you guys doing?" They said, "We're doing a Bible study. Would you like to join us?" And I did. And I think from that moment on, doing that Bible study with those people really accelerated and connected the dots between the increased study that I was doing while traveling and also the Bible study itself, and allowed me to really see the direction that the Lord wanted me to go in, meaning that I want you to take this information that you're learning in Bible study and talk about it and tell people about it, which led me to answering the call to preach and teach the gospel.
So Marvin, whenever that happened, so did you decide right then and there you were going to leave the corporate world and do that, or was it a progression, I would think?
Oh, no, it was a progression. It took probably another 3 to 4 years for that to occur. Interestingly enough, that Bible study that I talked about, in about a year and a half, the leader of the Bible study left, and they asked me to start leading the Bible study. So that was part of my maturation and the acceleration of what happened as well.
That's amazing. Some things are just meant to be. I mean, you walk into that Panera, because you probably were in that Panera 100 times before that.
Absolutely.
And just happen to look in that meeting room and see that group and poke your head in there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I will never forget that story, and also will never forget the people in that Bible study, because I didn't even attend their church, and they welcomed me in, and I've had relationships with those folks all these years, and it's been a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Marvin, how long was it after that you left the corporate world and focused solely on becoming a reverend?
I left the corporate world in 2016. And then I went to seminary full time. I went to seminary in Decatur, Georgia, at Columbia Theological Seminary. So I was living in Austin at the time and working for a company called Advanced Micro Devices. And so I left that position and then went to seminary.
Wow. So you really had the callings. That's kind of scary to leave a corporate job, a senior level position, and change everything around and your whole life. So that's really the calling that you received.
Well, I think that's the calling I received, and also the assurance that God gives us, that God will allow you to do something that makes to the entire world seem ridiculous, right, but God is going to take care of you in that. So money, places to live, right, paying for school, all of those things fell into place because I made the decision to trust the Lord.
Wow. That's very powerful, Marvin, very powerful. Because you had to have friends and family look at you like, what?
Family, not.
Yeah.
In fact, many of my family members, my siblings, said, "What took you so long?"
Wow.
Because I think they saw this in me before I saw this in me.
Right.
And so that was an affirmation for me that I was also doing the right thing. Friends, I have a really good cadre of friends, and none of my friends really questioned that decision to go to seminary. Again, they affirmed me with that and indicated that, yeah, that's really what you should be doing. We have seen this piece in you before, and that fits what you should be doing. And ironically, Denise, it seems like as I kind of think of my life over the 10 or so year period before going to seminary, just about everything I did led me to what I'm doing now. So sales and marketing. In corporate America, I did a lot of work in sales and marketing. And so guess what we do in teaching the gospel and what I do with To The Point Theological Media? I sell and I market. So
Right.
so that skill was enhanced in corporate America, and I could bring it over. Of course, you and I met doing work in Toastmasters,
Yes.
and all the public speaking and writing speeches and being able to speak clearly and concisely and correctly, all of those skills certainly come into play in what I'm doing right now. So I just thank the Lord that the preparation was all in the things I was doing leading up to this piece.
Definitely. When you laid out like that, definitely that was meant to be.
So I think the lesson is for many people is that you may have a calling, you may have something that you want to do, and for some people it certainly is what I did: go serve the Lord in a full-time capacity.
Right.
But it may be something else that you're learning to do. And I just believe that if you lean into it and you do the proper research and just go for it, everything is going to work out. And the things that you want, the Lord says that He will give you your desires of your heart. The desires of your heart will be executed. Because I meet so many people who are stuck in a job or stuck in some situation that they really want to get out of, except for the fact that they don't pull the trigger and actually do it.
Yeah. Well, it's scary.
No question it's scary, but also it's more scary, I believe, to be stuck someplace and wanting to do the thing that you really would like to do, and you're stuck doing something that you don't want to do. So I think it's more scary just to be stuck than it is to go out and do what that thing that you want to do. Yes, there's a degree of scariness in it, but also that's what faith is all about. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. It is the hope of things that is to be. So I particularly if you do your due diligence, particularly if you do the right research on what it is, you've got to step out on faith. And yes, that is a little scary, but you can talk to anyone who has accomplished anything in life. There is that moment that you have to step out, and there's a little bit of scariness there, but the stepping out really makes it happen.
Right. I always thought, I don't want to be in my golden years and think, what if I would have done that? I'd
Exactly.
100% into it, tried it. If it doesn't work, okay, I've tried it. No regrets. But to be later on in life and at the very end there and think, what if I just would have taken that job? Or what if I would have, worked with that client? Or what if I would have done that? To me, that has to be worse than trying something and failing.
Yeah, regret is an emotion that we don't want to live with.
No.
And I think it's really important. I'm a fan of the Steelers, like you are a fan of the Steelers as well. And we can see there may be times that when Ben was playing quarterback, you would say, gosh, why did he throw that ball into that coverage?
Right.
But there are also times that he threw that ball into that coverage and it was caught and good things happened or whatever. So you got to take chances. You got to kind of go out there, and particularly if you are prepared, you've done your research, and living with regret is something that you don't want to do.
Right.
And God does not want us to live with regret.
Right. Right. And what's the Wayne Gretzky quote? I'm probably misquoting this quite a little bit from Wayne Gretzky, but you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Got to take the shot.
So Marvin, we're just coming out of this pandemic slowly. How did COVID and the pandemic affect your ministry?
Oh, wow. So I was pastoring in a small place called East Dublin, Georgia. Let me explain. Everybody knows where Atlanta is, but everything else outside of Atlanta, I call the Georgia Outback. And so East Dublin, Georgia is in the rural area like where I'm living right now. And so when the pandemic hit, we closed the church, but we also did really 4 things to make sure that we remained connected with our parishioners. Number one, we started our church service that they could see online. In fact, I'm sitting in my in-home studio that I developed with a camera and a laptop and a light and a backdrop. So we did services from home live that they could see. Also, we would do them outside as well, outside at my home. Secondly, we really made sure that we stayed in touch with our parishioners on the phone. We made the services available to them on the phone so that we could listen to them if they didn't have didn't have internet. But we also talked to them on the phone, and that's where I developed this thing that I call the 1 minute devotional. So on Tuesdays and Saturdays, I do a 1 minute devotional that goes out on the telephone for our parishioners. Thirdly, we started mailing to them. You know, Denise, mail is still an effective tool. So we would mail bulletins to them. We would mail a weekly letter that I would compose to them. And so that kept us in touch. And then lastly, as the pandemic continued on, so we also, as I said, did a drive-in service. Think of the old drive-in movie. We had an FM transmitter so people could listen to the service as they drove up and were sitting in their cars. And the upshot of all of these things that we did, Denise, was that we had an increase in attendance at all of our various platforms. We also diversified the people who were looking at us. We had people looking at us throughout the country, throughout the world, actually. And then lastly, our contributions went up. We were able to, believe it or not, to pay off a mortgage that we had because our contributions went up. And when I got moved, our denomination will move its pastors from one place to the other. When I moved to the church I'm at now in the Metro Atlanta area, a lot of those folks who are our online followers followed us to the new church in Metro Atlanta. And because of that, we are able to have a pretty robust online ministry with Bible study online, with a devotional moment online, as I talked about on the phone, and some other things that really allow us to extend what we did.
That's amazing. I especially like the part about how you reached out by telephone. Because as you said, you're in the Georgia Outback. Some people don't have internet or a spotty internet, or they may be elderly and don't even know what internet is. So to keep in touch by using mail and telephone, that's pretty impressive, Marvin.
Yeah, I have a broad definition, Denise, of what I believe social media is. And social media is any tool that you can use to reach a group of people. And I think sometimes we get so caught up on Zoom and Facebook and YouTube and StreamYard, and I can name all of those different platforms, where we forget that the telephone is a really effective social media tool, and the mail is an effective social media tool. And I continue to use both of those. And then one last thing, there's nothing like good old fashioned. We would go by our parishioners' houses and wave and that sort of thing as well during the pandemic, keeping social distances, but letting folks see me and I see them.
That had to help with the loneliness too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mentioned about your company, To The Point Theological Media. So what exactly is that, Marvin? Because I know as long as I've known you, you've loved social media and everything that goes with it. So you've really incorporated all that.
Yeah, we have. So during the pandemic, I saw the need that not only the church that I was pastoring at the time, but other churches needed these media solutions. So I established a company, To The Point Theological Media, that houses all of the social media that I do. So the churches that I pastor, they don't have to come up with the social media solutions, the cameras, the connections, all of those sorts of things. We take care of through To The Point. But we also provide those services for other churches, for nonprofits, and also for small businesses, because you need that conductivity and also ways of reaching people. So we do websites. We also do write-ups of mailings that we do. During the time I was in seminary, I got a fundraising certificate. So I'm a certified fundraiser. So we can help small businesses and nonprofits with fundraising campaigns, capital campaigns, and churches with those things as well. So what we try to do at To The Point is to really have a robust suite of services that we can offer to churches, the nonprofit community, and small businesses. And oh, by the way, because we are a nonprofit, we're a 501(c)(3). If someone is working with us, let's say a business or an individual, the monies that they pay to us for our services can count as a tax deductible contribution.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, that's great information to pass on.
And one of the other things that I'm really pleased that we do with this company is that we actually produce media. The podcast that I do, the podcast with Marvin Bland, a radio show that we produced, It's a Matter of Your Health, a 30-minute radio show that I do for my sister, who's a physician. Her name is Dr. Vita Bland. I'm just doing shout outs. That radio show is syndicated on public radio stations throughout the country. So we are producing content that is out there. So we're looking for folks who would like to be content partners. We're looking for podcasters. We're looking for people who want to do any type of media. Would love to talk to them about how we can partner together to produce media.
Wow. That's amazing. Marvin, you really have taken all your loves and combined them in one.
Yeah, I've tried to, except for, I love baseball as well. And moving back to Georgia, I have been a lifelong Atlanta Braves fan. So I am very pleased that I've moved back here and we've won the World Championship. So it's been good. It's been really good.
Okay, Marvin, we don't need to talk about baseball.
I like the Pirates too. Okay.
I know, but come on. All right.
There's no better place to watch a ball game than PNC Park.
That is true. That is true. Right. Right. So what's next for Pastor Marvin Bland?
Oh, wow. Well, I think a few things. I just got back from the Holy Land, and
Yes.
that was a 2-week trip that I thoroughly enjoyed and learned a whole lot. So we've got a lot of material that we shot there, a lot of pictures and video. And so we're going to be distilling that. I'm going to be distilling that with others into a Bible study series that we're looking to launch. We'll also hope to partner with a virtual reality company that will bring the pieces of the Holy Land back to people who can't actually go because of either cost or physical limitations or whatever. You will get to see sites in the Holy Land with virtual reality, with narrations from me and others about what you're seeing and what you're experiencing. And then also certainly just keeping up spreading the gospel. I am really interested in how we can do this in a format in which it does not matter whether or not you are at church at 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, that you can really get the word of God and the content that we're producing 24/7 online and through other digital platforms.
That's amazing, Marvin. Amazing.
I want to applaud you. I know you said this show is not about you, it's about the guest, but in the years that I've known you, you have done exactly what we've been talking about. You have stepped out on faith and used the talents that you possess to communicate to a whole group of people. You are a great communicator. You are fantastic in terms of the knowledge base that you have and sharing that knowledge base. It's really interesting. If you look at the richest people in the world, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, most of them have gotten their money now through giving information away or being information conduits. And I want to applaud you by being an information conduit, because the more that we can share with other people, the more valuable we are, and the more that we can gain more information because we have a purpose for that information that we have. So Denise, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. I'm humbled by those words, Marvin. Thank you so much. how do people get in touch with you or watch some of these
Okay,
amazing
cool.
things you're doing?
Yeah. So you can find me on Facebook at Marvin Bland. It's an unusual first name. It's MarbenBland, Marvin Bland. That's the same address as my website, marvinbland.com. You can start following our podcast. You can find the podcast with Marvin Bland on any of your podcast platforms. Just put that in, and you should be able to subscribe to that podcast. So those, and then also, heck, you can call me. So let me give you my telephone number. You can reach me at 608-358-1309. That's 608-358-1309. That's my cell phone. It's my real cell phone number. You can text me, you can call me. I would love to partner with you on any of the things that we talked about in this time that we've been together. Because if you're a small business, if you are a church, if you are a nonprofit and you want to up your game in terms of how you get your message out, we certainly would love to talk to you and see how we can help.
Marvin, who would have thought all those years ago that we would be sitting here and you would be on my TV show talking about how you're a reverend and a pastor spreading the word? Like, who would have thought that all those years ago when we were sitting in Panera having dinner?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
But that's the power of God. That's the power of faith. That's the power of determination, and that's the power of going after your dreams. And even though you don't know what those dreams may be, how those dreams will manifest themselves into other things.
Marvin, thank you so much for being on the show and help spreading the word and all the wonderful things that you're doing. I wish you continued success forever.
Oh gosh, thank you, Denise. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Empowering You. I'd like to thank my guest, the Reverend Marvin Bland, the pastor of the Greater St. Peter African Methodist Episcopal Church in Jonesboro, Georgia. Pastor Marvin is an amazing individual, an amazing man how he's sharing God's word. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you will visit Marvin on his website, marvinbland.com, to see how he can assist you or your nonprofit, or also learn more about his quest to spread God's word. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.